We have more after teenagers were killed in a crash after their car slammed into a guardrail and landed onto Torrey Pines State Beach.
Last month, I was downtown covering the homeless problem. Now, neighbors say it's even worse. That story coming up.
A controversial topic reaches San Diego. The looming decision tonight on a county rule protecting all women.
Some of the biggest names in brewing in Tijuana and San Diego will be at a massive beer festival south of the border.
And how you can put some magic back into your date night.
CBS 8 News live at 6 starts now.
Right now, 3 teenagers in the hospital, 2 of them with serious injuries after a deadly crash overnight that killed 2 other teenagers at Torrey Pines State Beach. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Steve Price.
And I'm Jesse Pagan. Carlo and Marcella are both off tonight. All 3 teens were in the same car and detectives think the driver was drunk. CBS 8's Heather Hope is live in Torrey Pines near where the car landed following the investigation. Heather?
Right, Jesse, Steve, detectives say due to the complexities of this case involving injuries, fatalities, and suspected alcohol use, it is going to take much longer to investigate this as state park crews have already begun to try to clean up the debris around that mangled guardrail.
Like, I kind of walked down there and I looked at it and it was like a scene out of a horror film.
Late Monday night around 11 at Torrey Pines State Beach, Jeff Everett said he could hear a car crash into metal.
Then I see police car after police car like shooting through.
Jeff says it was too dark for him to see a 2020 Subaru WRX land on the beach. San Diego police detectives say a 19-year-old driver with 4 other passengers in the Subaru is suspected of driving under the influence and veered the car off North Torrey Pines Road.
And left that roadway at a high rate of speed, crashed, overturned, and we had 2 people die as a result. 3 are hospitalized.
Police say the teen driver slammed the Subaru into the guardrail and struck multiple rocks before landing on the sand between beach towers 4 and 5. It's unclear if the 2 teens killed died at the crash site or at the hospital.
The catastrophic damage that was done to that vehicle, and keeping in mind there were 5 people in that car.
In the daylight this afternoon, Jeff walked the path where the car landed on the beach and knelt down to pray.
I decided to come back and say a prayer for the families, because that could be anybody's daughter, a family, brother, sister, and even though I don't personally know them.
Police say in addition to the 19-year-old driver, there were 2 18-year-old and 2 19-year-old passengers. The driver suffered minor injuries, and police say the 2 surviving passengers are in the hospital with serious injuries, including damage to their lungs, and 1 has a broken hip.
My heart definitely goes out to the families, and it's such an unfortunate situation.
Torrey Pines State Beach cleanup crews picked up debris near the mangled guardrail. Detectives say it's too early to tell when and what criminal charges could be filed against the driver.
DUI is suspected, but there may be other factors as well that the investigation needs to incorporate.
Just to get into a vehicle with someone and then just make one bad decision, that's how quick things can be.
Steve and Jesse, even at this hour, police have not identified the names of all 5 involved in the deadly wreck.
It's such a senseless tragedy. Heather, thank you. Just hours ago, the Board of Supervisors unanimously voted to identify and use a county property as a temporary shelter for migrant families who are seeking asylum. This comes as Title 42 is set to possibly end next month. It allows immigration officials to turn away migrants at the border over public health concerns. Now, county leaders will have to find space to house those migrants if and when Title 42 ends.
Tonight, county supervisors have tentatively approved an ordinance to end discrimination against all women, including transgender women and non-binary people. CBS 8's Richard Allen is live in our newsroom with what was decided, what the ordinance involves, and the opposition it faced today. Richard?
Well, Jesse, that's right. The aim of this county ordinance is to eliminate discrimination against women. Now, dozens of enraged opponents, though, argue that because the ordinance also includes transgender women, they believe it would end up hurting women, providing access to women's shelters, bathrooms, and locker rooms to transgender women, and in their words, discriminate against the women this ordinance is meant to protect.
The ordinance you are putting forth to redefine women and girls to include transgenders is brazen misogyny 2.0. It allows pushing real women and girls aside from the tops of podiums or even the final 16 to be replaced by transgenders. That is not progress. It is pernicious prejudice.
You do not have the authority to define what a woman is and what a woman does. You've grossly exceeded your authority here.
No amount of lipstick or a dress is going to make a man look like me. These hips don't lie, like Shakira said.
And this ordinance is based on a United Nations treaty first adopted back in 1979. Now, its goal is to define what constitutes discrimination and also develop policies on a county level to end it. Now, this ordinance has already been adopted by other major cities, including Los Angeles and San Francisco, although on the national level, it has not been adopted by the federal government. Supporters of this ordinance say the move is crucial to moving our region closer to gender equity.
And removing the barriers faced by so many women, especially women of color and trans women of color. Inclusivity is a must, and our transgender, gender nonconforming, and intersex community members have been silenced, excluded, and oppressed for too long.
Trans and gender nonconforming women are women, period. Full stop. All women are vulnerable to the harm caused by gender inequities, and local efforts to investigate, analyze, and resolve those inequities are crucial to keeping women and girls safe from exploitation and abuse.
And this ordinance tentatively passed 3-2 today, with Supervisors Jim Desmond and Joel Anderson voting against it. Also, today was the first reading of this ordinance. The board will vote again to formally adopt it at the May 10th meeting.
All right, Richard, thank you. A driver in custody tonight after leading police on a high-speed chase that ended with a crash on the freeway. Happened this afternoon. San Diego police say they pulled the car over for an expired registration near Hancock and West Washington streets. But as they approached the car, the driver took off, heading north on the 5, then to State Route 52. Officers say speeds reached up to 110 miles per hour. The driver hit several other cars, spun out of control, and then crashed in Santee. That driver arrested without any further problems.
The city of San Diego is apologizing to drivers in Rancho Peñasquitos. People living near Azuaga Street got to share their frustrations over the new bike lanes in a Zoom meeting today. Many said the city didn't communicate with them about the lanes, and they also brought up the lack of parking. The city says it did a study and found only 23% of parking spaces were actually being used. But people there pointed out the study was done when people were at work.
Proper communication wasn't done here to the residents along Cambria. I mean, you've done the analysis of parking during midday when that's not really appropriate.
Director of Transportation Jorge Rivero apologized, saying they wanted to make San Diego more multimodal, but got ahead of themselves. The city is now strategizing its next steps. More than 700 firefighters in San Diego are training right now, prepping for fire season. Training is happening in Valley Center, and they're focusing on improving their teamwork as they fight all kinds of fires.
Different fire departments coming together. It could be a concern of maybe some confusion or some communication areas, those type of things. That's what we hope to iron out here today in preparation for the upcoming fire season.
The training started yesterday and will end tomorrow afternoon.
Tonight, a state lawmaker wants to ban district attorneys from using rape kit evidence to arrest and prosecute victims for unrelated crimes. As our political reporter Morgan Reiner tells us, supporters of this bill believe it's a common practice.
The San Francisco district attorney said there are thousands of cases of this happening, none that I can point to in our area, but still, victim advocates say it's better to be safe than sorry.
The San Francisco Chronicle first reported that SF police used a woman's rape kit from 2016 to arrest her for a property crime years later.
My original thought was that it was going to make it difficult for survivors to come forward, to give them another reason to fear the system and fear reporting the crime to law enforcement.
Ilsa Connect said the news was disturbing. She is the director of policy at the Joyful Heart Foundation, an organization started by Law and Order actress Mariska Hargitay to help survivors heal and reclaim joy in their lives.
You know, it could be an isolated incident, but regardless, you know, the policy obviously the practice, I should say, should be stopped, and we hope that other jurisdictions take note that it is not a practice that should be used.
Senator Scott Wiener said on the national level, it is already illegal to include rape kit DNA in the DNA index.
So it was shocking to learn that there is no corresponding California law.
I asked how common the practice actually is. District Attorney Chesa Boudin said he can point to the practice in San Francisco and as far away as Massachusetts.
As far as whether there are specific other instances in the state of California, I have personally reached out to other elected district attorneys, asked them, urged them to look into the practice.
I did reach out to several. San Diego District Attorney told me their office does not use DNA from a sexual assault victim to charge them with any crime. The office said, quote, it is used only for its intended purpose, which is to obtain justice on behalf of sexual assault victims. Sacramento DA's office told me they only enter the DNA of suspects into their database, never victims.
Since that Chronicle article came out, Connect told me she's had women from across the country call her to express their fears. She said before the article even came out, 2/3 of victims did not report their abusers. She says at the very least, this bill, which could turn into a law, would at least help ease people's minds.
All right, Morgan, thank you. Still ahead, we're clearing up the confusion over the amount of microplastics going into our bodies.
Plus, a baby kidnapped from his California home back with his family tonight.
We're seeing some passing clouds with a storm system sweeping by to the north, but will we see any shower activity in the next 8 days? Details ahead.